Welcome to the You Are More podcast. I'm Blaine Ledbetter.
And I'm Laken Stewart. If you're looking for an authentic community that shares the truth of the gospel and the truth about life, you've come to the right place.
We believe that you are more. You're more than motherhood, more than your ministry, and more than your career. Grab a cup of coffee and listen in to hear the truth about what it means to find your identity in Christ through every season of life.
Welcome to the You Are More podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to the You Are More podcast. Laken here and Blaine is on here with me as well. And we are just excited to be diving into something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a 3-part mini series called Stories. And it's essentially just Blaine and I getting together and telling stories. Part 1 being about birth and motherhood and that first few raw months of becoming a mother and what that looked like for us. And then part 2 is stories in ministry. So the last 5 years, kind of what each of us have done in ministry and what that has looked like for us. And then we'll wrap up part 3 with just some fun stories from any type of job that we've had. We have some good stories to share in that regard. So be on the lookout for the next few weeks of this mini series called Stories. We're ready to dive right in. We're going to give just a brief life update at the beginning of this episode on what we've been doing the past few weeks, and then we'll dive right into our stories.
So, Laken, what's your life update? How's life?
It's good. It's stressful. It's so many things going on. Like we move on the 16th. The movers come on the 16th, and then we're going up to my parents' house for a few days.
Oh, good. Okay. Go to see
because
them.
like we have to wait for the truck to get there, and our lease doesn't start until the 20th. So we move in on the 20th, and then on the 23rd, Cody goes to an offsite retreat for 4 days for his new church. So praise the Lord, my dad's coming to town, because I would be. Yeah. Thankfully, I already have childcare lined up, but yeah, we'll see. We are stressed and blessed. I don't know what else to say. Like work has been good. Thankfully, this week has been semi-slow. So I'm just waiting for things to pick up again for year end.
Yeah.
So last week, Cody was in Malawi, Africa, and I took my kids to visit some friends, and we all got sick on the flight home. So
when she texted
we're just recovering.
I mean, you were like, 10 out of 10 don't recommend getting sick on an airplane with your kids there also. I was like, I think I just vomited for you, because I cannot imagine. I'm projecting your trauma onto myself. I'm trying to bear your burden, and I just was like, I can't.
My mom picked us up at the airport, and as soon as I saw her, I just started crying.
I absolutely would have.
I don't know what else to do but cry right now, because I am like literally dragging myself through the airport, carrying my screaming children who have just vomited all over me during a flight. While I'm also sick. And I usually judge people that press the airplane call button, because I'm like, what on earth could you need? Like, seriously.
Right. Especially on a short flight.
Thank you. I pressed that thing like 5 times in 2.5 hours. Those poor flight attendants, but they were so nice. But
it's probably not the worst they've seen, and they're just like, it's another day at the office.
It's another day. I was like, I need some warm water, some disinfectant, and some towels, please. They were like, you got it.
Oh man. Gosh.
Anyway, Blaine, amidst our move and our stomach issues, how are you guys?
We're good. I told Laken the other day, I was like, last week was crazy. It wasn't bad.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. But like,
you like took a day off, didn't you?
Yeah. So starting from that previous Saturday, until Friday. We either had something to do, like work was a little crazy, but not much. I mean, and that's kind of to be expected at this time of year
Yeah.
because we're like in the
October
nonprofit
to
fundraising world.
December is
Yeah.
just,
So
yeah.
I anticipate those kind of things for work,
Mhm.
but I did not allow my body to rest and probably didn't Sabbath well.
Mm.
But by like Wednesday of that week, I was like, I have to take off work tomorrow. I will
Yeah.
not be doing anything other than I'll go pick up my kids from school, but like I'm not cleaning, I'm not working.
Just lay
I'm
in
going to
bed
do
all day.
things that I enjoy. I literally stayed in the bed till 10 or 11. I watched a
It's
movie, I watched a
incredible.
show. I was like, I haven't done this in so long that it just feels weird to not do anything. But it was very much needed. I was ready to go Friday, did a lot of work Friday, very
Good.
excited. Yeah, I needed that mental break and work was so fine with that. I'm so grateful. But I was telling another friend, I was like, I don't like living life at that pace
Mm-mm.
because
Me neither.
I like having margin to go get coffee with a friend or like
Same.
stop and play with my kids. And the way that we were living that week, it was just, it's kind of all my obligations all happened in one week. And that rarely happens. So I was like,
Yeah.
this is not our normal. And I'm really glad.
Yeah. I
I just,
remember you
that's,
saying, because you had like a sale on Saturday or something, like a kids
yeah,
consignment.
it's like a consignment thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
then you had
so,
like 17 meetings that Monday. I remember you
yes,
texted me and you're like, I don't know how
yes,
you have so many meetings on
I
Monday.
don't, it was kind of like everything kind of like, what is it, bottlenecked and just kind of
Yep.
happened on one day. And then the next day, it was like stuff related to my kids' school that I was helping
Oh
with.
no.
And it was some like unexpected things. And it wasn't even like interruptions. Like I'm fine with things not going as planned. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't really control it. But this was just one thing after the other, and I couldn't stop to take a break. I mean, I got home Tuesday night after, school obligations and kids and getting everybody situated and actually going to the consignment sale to shop. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm taking some ibuprofen and I'm getting in the bed and no one talked to me. I'm probably going to go to sleep like at 8 o'clock
Yeah.
exactly. It
Oh
was
yeah. You've got to do that.
insanity.
You've got to do that.
Ugh.
Goodness.
So yeah, that's the
Fun
craziness of
life
last week, but this
updates.
week's great. Yeah.
So, Blaine, I know today we're going to be talking about just fun, exciting, raw, scary birth stories. I'd love to hear either one birth story that you've had with one of your kids or all three, or, what has been the most momentous birth experience you've had, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited. Okay. So, um,
Y'all, this is Blaine's wheelhouse. She
it is.
she
I
loves
love
birth,
talking
all
birth.
things birth.
I do. I do. And I share this just to be relatable, but also I like hearing birth stories and I hope people do too. And I won't go into
Yeah.
detail, but so with my first, I had a very easy pregnancy. I did not know what I was doing, literally.
Do we
Like I
ever?
didn't,
None of
yeah,
us do.
poor first kid was the guinea pig, literally. So give yourself grace in that. The other
Oh,
two
100%.
have kind of sort of turned out fine. So we learned a lot.
Kind of sort of turned out fine.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we got pregnant with our first baby and the pregnancy was easy. I was working full time. So on my feet, 8 hours a day.
Mhm.
Just living life. We didn't really have anything else going on. Um,
Isn't that the best?
just yeah, it really was. I
Just,
can't even remember life
I
before
know.
kids. It's crazy. I'm like, what do we do? Um, so yeah, pregnancy was great. I went part-time after he was born. Um, as far as work, I had a scheduled induction and an epidural because I didn't know anything about birth, labor, delivery, nothing. Like I ate some Lair bars and that's it, like from my dates. Because, everybody says eat dates or something. I don't know. But everything went great. I have really short labors, and so he was born quickly.
Wow.
And
I'm jealous.
however, man, recovery after an epidural was really hard. Had some back issues there for several months after that. Um, yeah, so that was probably my hardest recovery. After I kind of, healed from that and we were kind of thinking about another child, maybe I started
Mhm.
researching home birth and midwifery because I was like, things didn't go badly with his birth,
Mm.
but I just don't want that same experience. I really want to make decisions for myself based on
Yeah.
what I've researched. I want my husband and I to be informed. And so, found out we were pregnant and with our second and just was like, wow, here we go again. Like this is real. And so we had a consultation with our midwife and left that appointment and my husband was like, yep, I'm all in, let's do it. And so decided just from the get-go, like home birth is it. And so I
Whoa.
just, yeah, started filling my mental space for we're having this baby at home and this midwife knows what she's doing. She's amazing. She's incredible. Still friends with her, still love her very much. She really took care of us. I learned a lot from her. Midwifery care is very different from the
Obstetric care. Yeah.
obstetric care, very, very different. But it was great. She came fast and furious in the middle of the night. I mean, there
That
is
sounds like Phoebe.
nothing.
Let's be
Oh,
real.
it is. She, I mean, waking up from just jolted awake.
I can't even imagine that, Blaine. Like, I cannot. My labors
Her,
are so long. It's so
okay. I don't know why mine aren't. I don't know. There's nothing that I did special, but an hour and a half later, she was born. So, I mean, I'm talking fast,
Oh my
furious to the
God.
point. When I say she's my spicy baby, I mean it
It's
from
real
the day she was
spicy.
born.
Yeah.
But, um, but literally, the midwife got there like 5 minutes before she was born. It was
Almost a
insanity.
free birth.
Yeah. Didn't plan that, but I knew like she was going to get there. It was okay. Again, she
Yeah.
took great care of us. So,
Good.
recovery was amazing. I felt amazing there. I mean, there's just no comparison. It
Did
was
you do it in a
tiring.
tub?
Go ahead.
Did you go in a
Yeah.
tub? Okay.
I had her, I don't know how they got that tub filled up or my husband as quick as he did, but he did. And he's amazing. My hero for that.
Love it.
So that was just an experience. It was amazing. I
Mm.
mean, it was just so different from the hospital experience. And I mean, everybody choose what you need to, but it really was special. Um, Recovery was great. Had a little bit of postpartum depression. We kind of alluded to that in previous episodes.
Yeah.
But chasing 2 under 2 is just,
Wild.
yeah. But let's see, maybe a year and a half later, I guess, we got pregnant with our third, and there was just no question it was going to be another home birth
Yeah.
because I have home births apparently now. I'm a home birth mama. um, Same midwife. She's probably the second person that I told I was pregnant after my husband because I was like, your dates are booking up. You have to be with me. So put me on your calendar. I'll pay you a deposit tomorrow.
Love
But
it.
anyways, we just planned for that. And she came about 5 days after her due date. Pretty quick labor, but definitely was able to have like a labor experience in terms of like, early labor and getting to hang out and we watched TV and just kind of prepared our birth space. I didn't do a birth tub this time, but I was able to get a bath. I think that's what really kickstarted the labor because it really, really relaxed me. And my midwife got there. Funny story, she got a ticket on the way because she was trying to
Oh
get to me
no.
so fast because she knows I have fast labors. um, but she got there way plenty of time. And I mean, her assistant got there like right. I mean, really, really soon. It was much
Good.
better experience, not as fast and furious. But yeah, she came and baby was born and great and like no complications. Definitely was a very fulfilling experience in terms of like, okay, I've had 2 home births, and this one definitely didn't feel as fast and furious. And so, um, yeah, just recovery was fine because I literally stayed in the bed for like 2 weeks straight.
I love it. So
Still
fun.
had toddlers to chase around, but had a lot of help and really grateful for that and accepted help. And so, again, we've alluded to it, but had about 6 months in, I had postpartum depression. But other than that, she was the sweetest baby. And yeah, so those are my quick, crazy, fun birth
I
stories.
love it.
So,
I love it.
Laken,
So
let's
fun.
hear. So, like, pregnancy, birth, like, how
Yeah.
did
So I
y'all's
got
go?
pregnant with our oldest, who is almost 3. She'll be 3 in 2 months, which is insanity. Um, at the very beginning of COVID. So like we found out I was pregnant on April Fool's Day of
Oh
2020.
my goodness.
Um,
Wow.
and it was kind of scary, honestly, because at that point, like no one really
Mhm.
knew what was going on. But
Mhm.
my pregnancy was great. I had 0 morning sickness, which was a miracle from the Lord because I'm
Yeah.
always, my hormones always make me ill these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a pretty easy pregnancy. I was working from home for like the first 5 months of it, and then went
Mhm.
back to work in the school that I was placed at for communities and schools, like 20 something ish weeks into my
Mhm.
pregnancy. And then stayed working there for 3 months, and then worked from home the last like month of my pregnancy.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, I was kind of forced into induction with her mainly because of COVID. They
Yeah.
used COVID as an excuse for everything, but also because my doctor was going on vacation, which is just
Oh,
the
it's
worst,
exactly why
the
my first was
worst,
induced.
the
Yep.
worst possible reasoning to have an induction. So we went in on a Wednesday evening, and she was not born until Friday at 10:57 p.m. So yeah, we were in the hospital for a
No.
full 48 hours
Mm-mm.
before she was born.
Oh my gosh.
Um, it was truly,
Wow.
I think, a big reason for why I had like immediate postpartum blues and depression. Like
Mhm.
Charlotte was born, and immediately I didn't even want to like really hold her.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then I also didn't want anyone else to hold her either. It was such a odd, like
Yeah.
I don't even really remember it because it was such like a foggy time. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
I was in such a fog.
Which
I
is so
was,
common. Yeah.
yeah, it was just, I was induced, and um, they wouldn't let me like move around, even though I was being induced. Like I wasn't allowed to walk around,
Mhm. Mhm.
wasn't allowed to like sit in a tub or anything. I
Oh my
literally sat in a
gosh.
bed for like 48 hours, and that's why it
Which
took so
is
long.
why it took so long, right? Movement is
Exactly.
key. Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, she came very slowly after 36 hours of active labor,
Mhm.
which was not fun at all, I will say. But
Oh gosh.
struggled with postpartum depression, but then got help about 2 months after she was born, and have been continuing that help for ever since she
Yeah.
was born.
Good.
Um,
Good.
and then 6 months after she was born, we got pregnant with number 2 unexpectedly. Which
Yeah.
was just, I hadn't gotten my cycle back. And so it was a complete surprise. So it was
Mhm.
just like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
here we are. Um, and so that definitely kind of threw me for a loop. I kind of grieved the fact, and I've alluded to this in earlier episodes, just grieved the fact that I would no longer just have one baby. And I was
Mhm.
honestly
Yeah.
terrified for postpartum with
Yep.
number 2. And so I
Yep.
did some just thinking and praying with my husband on, how we would approach this pregnancy. The pregnancy was a little bit different than Charlotte's. I
Mhm.
was sick basically the whole time, like sick every day. Um,
Yeah.
which was totally different than my first. I was never sick with her. And so it was really weird for me. And I don't know if it was because of like, we live in the backwoods, and so we have to ride country roads to get anywhere, and they're all windy and curvy. I don't know if that played a role.
Yeah.
But so we decided I still wanted to birth in a hospital, but the hospital that we lived near also had a midwifery. And so I got a midwife through University of Virginia. And she was incredible. And she no longer is with University of Virginia, which makes me sad, even though I won't have another baby in Virginia since we're moving. Yeah. But even if she was incredible. I was also induced for baby number 2, but mainly because I literally went into labor 2 weeks before my due date, and was in labor for like a week. And finally I was like, I can't do this anymore. I am exhausted and tired.
Just some prodromal
I was like,
labor.
I just need something to kickstart this, because I was walking around at like 4 or 5 centimeters for over a week. And I was like, I just can't. I need to.
Happens. I know.
And so I was able to like move around and labor in a tub, and she was born like 6 hours after the induction started, and it was just incredible. I was able to deliver on hands and knees, which made a huge difference in just postpartum healing and all of that. And I was able to catch her, and it was just so incredible,
so awesome.
And totally different than baby number 1. And I did get postpartum depression with her about 3 or 4 months after she was born. But other than that, it was a beautiful birth experience with baby number 2. And it makes me excited for baby number 3. We haven't fully decided, what we'll do. I'm leaning more towards, if we have another, to birth in like a midwifery birthing center rather than a hospital. Mainly because I hate how they bug you literally every 30 minutes after your baby is born. Like you don't get to sleep. It's awful. And so we're kind of thinking through that. I know, but also we're also like moving. And so, well, I have to do like the research and see where is best and who is best.
Birth centers usually release you after like 24 hours or maybe not even that. Like it's just so different. So that's awesome.
So we'll see. But those are my birth stories. And now I have 2 terrorizing toddlers screaming downstairs. But wouldn't have it any other way. So
yeah. That's so fun.
Cool. Those are our birth stories. I don't know if you're interested in hearing those, but we wanted to share. We're glad that you have listened to part 1 of our stories mini series. Tune back in next week for some of our stories about ministry the last few years, and make sure that you follow us and subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts, and make sure you go ahead and click the follow button on Instagram at YouAreMorePod. We'll see you guys soon.
See ya.